All right. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. I am super, super thrilled to have Maruko here today. She is a recent graduate of the LoYo Method coaching program, and I wanted her to share her story. She's done amazingly well, and she has lots to share. Maruko, just such a pleasure that you're here. Why don't you go
Mhm.
ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit
Sure.
about you.
All right. Thank you. Yes. Hello. My name is Maruko Breland. I live currently in the Seattle area, Seattle, Washington, in the Pacific Northwest. And I am a wife and mom of one 5-year-old boy. And yeah, very happy to be here.
Awesome. Awesome. So tell us a little bit about some of your challenges, over last year, in the years past, around your health or eating behaviors or, things of that nature as it pertains to your own well-being.
hmm well, I've been struggling to lose weight since I was a child. Struggled with being overweight since I was in about third grade, like 8 years old. And so on and off dieting. And but I think what really got me serious about my health and improving my health was after we had our son. I'm dealing with secondary infertility. So we really want to expand our family, have more kids, but it's been really difficult for my body to do that after having our son. And so really got me serious about improving my health. And I felt losing weight was part of that. Um, and yeah, and so I wanted to take some steps to really figure out how to do this for the long term.
Yeah, awesome. Well, it has been just an awesome pleasure to to have you, to work with you, to see, your shifts in, all sorts of different ways. Um, Tell me what did you try to do on your own? You said like all sorts of diets and things like that. What were you doing on your own in the past? And tell me like
Along
what was difficult about it.
Yeah, I remember a long time ago when I was, I think, in middle or high school, my mom had recommended doing the Nutrisystem diet. I don't know how popular that was, but yeah, basically you have these like diet foods packaged and mailed to your house. And so I remember doing that for a little bit. And then I tried some things like just really trying to portion control and trying to do that in college, just kind of like shrink my portion sizes down. And I remember, so I in college, I actually lost quite a bit of weight doing that. And but it didn't last very long. Maybe it lasted for like a year, but then I gained it all back. And I think that was due to just like my motivation came from the number on the scale going down and also recognition from other people saying, "Oh, you look great. Are you losing weight?" But then once that kind of stopped, I think, like once I reached the weight that I wanted to reach and I wasn't losing anymore. So then that stimulation wasn't there. And then also, people weren't really commenting anymore on, oh, I look different. So then with those two stimulating factors gone, I think I regained the weight pretty quickly. After that, last year I did Weight Watchers, and where I lost 20 pounds. And I have been able to keep that off, but I knew that it wasn't really sustainable to like track what I eat all the time. And then I guess what I realized in myself is that following that program, I noticed I was starting to eat more processed foods to kind of try to get the low point, the low point numbers. But then I realized, okay, well that's not so healthy. So I wanted to find a way where I could still lose the weight, but in a healthy way.
Quality over quantity.
Yeah,
Amazing. So, and how old are you now, Mariko?
I am 33.
Okay. So what stood out from you? You recently graduated the LoYo Method coaching program. You're with us in coaching quite often. Tell me like what stood out from you about our coaching that may have been different from some of the things that you've done in the past and like Why jump in?
Hmm. Well, as you know, Jessica, I was pretty hesitant to jump in actually before I joined the program. And mainly that was, just I wasn't used to making an investment into myself, making an investment that big into myself. And I just, I wasn't sure what to expect, especially having been on multiple diets. I thought, well, how do I know that this is not going to be the same, right? Get some temporary results, and then it all just coming back. And so I definitely was, had my reservations in terms of jumping in, but honestly speaking, as a person of faith, I genuinely felt called to join the LoYo program. I looked at other programs, but somehow this one seemed to fit what I was looking for in terms of regular coaching, and I think, Jessica, also I was very grateful that you were very much a coach and a cheerleader at the same time, if you will, being very honest and straightforward about what all of us need to do, what changes we need to make, but at the same time, really making sure we're celebrating our wins. And I think the consistent weekly coaching calls, and also the support that I could reach out to you at any time for with questions or anything. Those two things are really what made the program so supportive, so impactful for me. I had never really done a program where there was that level of support and accountability. And I really appreciated the coaching calls where I could be on with many women from all over the country and realizing, oh, these struggles that I go through are not just me, that actually many women are dealing with the same struggles. And so whenever, we had the opportunity to ask Jessica you questions, then I could also learn from the other women's questions and the answers that Jessica, you yourself would give, or the other women would give in response to the other women, because I would realize, oh, we have the same question, or one woman would ask a question and I would think, oh, I didn't realize I had that question, but actually, that's true. I do think that too. And then hearing the answers to that would clarify a lot of things for me, and a lot of important, great advice. I took a lot of notes during those coaching calls, and a lot of like key words still stay with me to this day, asking myself, it's not just about the weight loss, but what is really nourishing my body. I remember that was a big one. So
Yeah.
that's where I think it was very beneficial.
I find that to be such a common theme in terms of learning from others. Sometimes, you know, this process of well-being, weight loss, eating behaviors, getting healthy, and all of it can be quite lonely, I think. And, self-motivation only lasts so long.
Yeah.
Um, Community and support is something I speak about a lot. And I think it's really telling, especially when that's the common theme of, feedback, right? It's like, yeah, having community, having support, having someone, having people, having like-mindedness, having that accountability and empowerment from other people, especially women in this world.
Mm.
It's such a great thing. When women can come together and really like lift each other up and learn from each other. So I appreciate that for sure. Um, you mentioned you were, nervous to invest in yourself. Um, did many women need to speak to their partners oftentimes before investing in themselves too? Did you do that?
Yes, yes, definitely had to do that, right? I mean, can't just dive in without his approval and support. I don't know if approval is the right word, but he obviously, we had to be in it together, if you will. And so I was really nervous to talk to him in the beginning about
How'd you have
wanting to
that
join the
conversation?
program.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I came, I think I told him at first, like, okay, I understand if you say no, but I do want to, ask if I can join this program. And here's why. And I definitely did explain from a place of, I think that this will be important not only for me, but for our family, right? Like, it's important that the wife and the mom of the house is healthy, is thriving, in all areas, right? I love that the LoYo method also doesn't just focus on the physical, but also the emotional, the mental, even the spiritual sometimes, and that holistically, wife and mom need to be doing well in order for things to function well in the family, right? I mean, each person needs to be doing well. And so, but with mom taking care of everybody, I really just feel like I need to figure out my health. And I was very lucky. He was very supportive of that. I expected a little bit more hesitation, but he yeah, he said, well, if you really feel like this is important, I also am very, um supportive of anything that will be good for your health in all areas. So I actually told him, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" And he was the one who said, let's just go for it. Let's just go for it." And so I was
Um,
very grateful in that sense.
yeah. So tell us about, your experience in terms of some of the wins that you've had. Like, let's celebrate your wins.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the wins were wins that I was not expecting, so that was really interesting. So in the beginning of the program, there's the 10-day nutritional reset, which I was nervous about for sure, looking at the menus, nervous about, but after doing it, I definitely felt much better. My body felt much better, and also I realized that I really enjoy cooking, and that was huge because up until then I kind of saw cooking as a chore, and so I didn't really want to do it. But through the 10 days, I realized, oh, actually, cooking is so enjoyable, and now and that's huge for me because I have to cook many meals in a day, right? I cook all the meals in my family, and so now, like seeing it with a different perspective, it's now actually part of my self-care rather than it being a chore that I just have to do. And so that's really a win because um, now cooking is something that gives me energy rather than takes away energy. So that was huge and something I did not expect. Also, in terms of exercise was another big one. Up until now, I think I viewed, whenever I would go on a diet or something, exercise, right, is said to be good for weight loss, right? Of course. But I think I was seeing exercise as a method for weight loss. And so, Jessica, when I saw in the modules that there was one about, move more, right? Exercise, I remember my initial reaction was like, oh, do I have to? Like, because I feel like I'll exercise and then I'll lose weight. But then once I stop exercising, I'll gain the weight back. That was my mentality. But then in that moment, I had this aha where I was like, well, wait, I guess that is precisely the point, that actually exercise is not only for weight loss. Exercise is for my whole life. It's actually good to move my whole life. It's a healthy thing to do. And not only is it healthy, for my physical body, but it also does, kind of the endorphins, right? It makes me in a better mood. And so that was also a huge moment of like a big paradigm shift for me, to see exercise not as something I do for weight loss, but something I should continue to do for the rest of my life as part of my health. And it doesn't have to be something super rigorous, but even, just making sure I move for like 30 minutes a day, whether that's just by walking or something, that was huge for me. So yeah, and then I think through the program also I realized I wasn't craving sweets as much as before. And I also was not as dependent on coffee or caffeine anymore. So that was also really nice. And then also the consciousness for needing more vegetables in my meals. That was huge. And then I think that one thing in terms of mental and emotional practice that was really important was also the like if I do make a mistake, because, well, I don't even know if I should call it a mistake, right? Let's say like recently I had like a 4-day span where I was really craving sweets again. And so I remember before I'd be like, oh, why am I craving sweets again? Like, what's wrong with me? And I would really come at it from a place of accusation. self-accusation. But this time, I think from going through the LoYo method, I came at it from a place of just curiosity, observation, thinking, okay, well, why am I craving the sweets? And taking time to reflect, come at it from a non-judgmental place, but just more curiosity and observation. And so I actually, went to my phone and I wrote in my phone journal, if you will, and it was very insightful. And in the end, I told myself, you know what? I think that there's going to be times like this where there's like at that time it was like the second day or something. So I told myself maybe there'll be times like this. It won't last forever, but maybe I can allow myself to have that cookie today and just give myself the permission. Don't go overboard, but give myself permission to enjoy it. And I did. And like I said, after 4 days, that phase passed, and it was okay. you know but it was definitely such a different approach to it than in the past, and much healthier way, I think.
And what happens in those situations so much of the time is, oh, I want the cookie. Oh, I fight with myself. Should I have the cookie? Do I want the cookie? Do I need the cookie? I shouldn't have the cookie. Bad self for having the cookie. Oh my God, I'm going to have the whole box of cookies now. Oh my God, I just ate 10 cookies.
Right.
I'm such a bad person. Terrible guilt, shame. And do you see how easy that can spiral out of control? And then it's like, screw it. I'm done. I'm done with my diet. I'm over it. I'm going to just eat all
Right.
the things. And then I'm going to go into the ice cream. And then I'm going to go into this because might as well, because I screwed up anyway. And I ate all the cookies. I mean, that is a cycle that happens to people, right? Like, tell me, guys, if you're watching in the comments, like, if that was you, if that is you, Maruko, you've done a fabulous job at shifting the mindset, at applying mindfulness, applying consciousness, like getting in touch with how to shift and reframe things up here, which then control your behaviors, right? It all starts here. What we think, what we are feeling, control then what we do. And you were able to do that. And I think that's an enormous success in terms of just making those switches. And I love how you're like, your mindset is switching on so much more about health, right? Healthy life, healthy body, healthy mental health, healthy physical self, healthy body for pregnancy, healthy body and self for being a mom, being a wife, healthy, and the sole focus is not just, oh my God, I need to lose the weight. Oh my God, I need to lose the weight. Oh my God,
Yeah.
pressure. I'm going to put pressure on myself. I'm going to punish myself. I'm going to do this diet. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to have all this guilt and shame around the cookie, So I think that's great.
It's interesting that the fixation on weight loss was actually hindering the weight loss. And through doing the LoYo method, I think your advice to throw out the scale was also an aha moment or a big turning point for me as well. My husband hid it somewhere, but I haven't weighed myself since before the LoYo method, and uh, it's been incredibly liberating to not be fixated on the number on the scale, but still feeling my pants get looser and my clothes fitting better. And so I can tell it's happening, but it's not about the number anymore.
And that's huge. Again, another huge aha, another huge win that so many people are like, how do you not become fixated on the scale? But it's all about the scale, but it's all about the number. It's like that pesky little number that determines, your entire mood for the day or the week or
Right, yes.
right. It's awesome. I mean, it's really great that you've been able to do that. And here's the thing, still see physical results. You're still seeing those results. Amazing. Love them. Love the wins. It has been such an honor and privilege, Maruko. Before we wrap up, what advice would you give to other women? What would you tell other women in your shoes?
Um, Before or after the program?
Like if someone is in your shoes, in your former shoes, if someone is currently in your former shoes, what would you tell that person?
Mm, well, I think I would tell them that it's never too early to invest in your health. for your sake, as well as all those around you that love you, that you being a happy and healthy person, woman, is so huge for yourself and all those around you. And that I know that it can be pretty, uh, I was nervous, right, going into it, or wondering if I should go into it. Do I want to step in, or do I want to wait for a while and think about it? But definitely, I have no regrets in joining the LoYo Method program. I think, like I said, I came across aha moments that I was not expecting, and the biggest one being that shift from fixation on the number on the scale to overall health. And that is something that I can take with me for the rest of my life. And so I will say you won't regret it. If you do it, you won't regret it. Jessica is amazing. She gives such real advice from her own experience, and she gives a lot of hope to say, you can do this, and that it doesn't have to be a far off dream. That it is very possible to achieve amazing health in all areas.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate those kind words and your vulnerability and your courage in sharing today. And I'm sure that there's so many people out there that could resonate with your story. So if you guys have questions for Maruko, I'm sure, she'd be happy to just give you anything else, any other tips and information about her experience. And I really appreciate you sharing today. So thank you so, so, so much. It was an absolute privilege. And for everyone else, we'll talk soon, guys. Everyone, have a wonderful day.
Thank you.